Stoic self-care habits to truly love yourself and become unshakable. Stop scrolling for a second. If you constantly feel tired, behind, or disappointed in yourself, this is for you. Stay with me till the end, because this is not feel-good advice. It is how to take care of yourself when life is heavy and you're barely holding it together. Most people think self-care means rest, rewards, or treating yourself. That version fails the moment life becomes stressful. Stoic self-care is different. It is quiet, practical, and steady. It teaches you how to take care of yourself even when motivation is gone, people disappoint you, or life does not slow down. This is written for people who struggle with consistency, discipline, and self-respect. People who want peace, not pressure. Strength, not hype. If that sounds like you, listen closely and listen to the end. If this spoke to you, don't just like it, commit to one habit today. Save this, and subscribe, for more calm, practical guidance, and come back to it when life gets heavy. Now let's begin. 1. The habit of controlling only what belongs to you. You are not tired because you do too much. You are tired because you think about too much. Most of it was never yours to carry. Most exhaustion does not come from work or responsibility. It comes from mental struggle, worrying about how people see you. Replaying conversations in your head, imagining future problems that may never happen, blaming yourself for outcomes you could not control. This kind of exhaustion is invisible, but it drains more energy than physical effort. Stoic self-care begins by addressing this root problem, not by adding rest, but by removing unnecessary mental weight. The Stoics believed peace begins with clarity. You must clearly separate what belongs to you from what does not. Your actions belong to you. Your choices belong to you. Your effort, intentions, and values belong to you. Other people's reactions do not, timing does not, outcomes do not. Once you see this clearly, you stop arguing with reality. And when you stop arguing with reality, your mind finally rests. Many people resist this habit because they confuse control with responsibility. Letting go of what you cannot control does not mean you stop caring. It means you care wisely. You do your part fully, then release the rest. This protects your energy and keeps you grounded. When you do not separate control clearly, everything feels personal. A delayed response feels like rejection. A failed plan feels like personal failure. Someone else's bad mood feels like your fault. Over time, this creates constant tension. Your nervous system stays on alert, waiting to fix things that cannot be fixed. Stoic self-care interrupts this pattern. When you stop fighting what you cannot control, your mind becomes quieter. You stop replaying situations endlessly. You stop blaming yourself for other people's behavior. You stop feeling responsible for outcomes that were shaped by many factors beyond you. This calm is not weakness. It is stability. It allows you to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting emotionally. This habit also removes a hidden source of self-criticism. Many people are harsh on themselves because they expect control where none exists. They believe if they think harder or worry longer, they can prevent discomfort. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Worry is not preparation. Clarity is letting go of what does not belong to you, frees energy for what does. You become more effective, not less. You stop scattering your attention and start acting where your actions matter. Practicing this habit requires awareness, not force. When something upsets you, pause. Before reacting, ask one simple question. Is this mine to act on, or mine to release? This question creates distance between the situation and your emotions. It slows the spiral. If the issue is yours to act on, act calmly. Take responsibility without drama. If it is not yours to control, release it without guilt. This does not mean pretending it does not exist. It means refusing to spend emotional energy on something you cannot influence. At first, this will feel uncomfortable. You are used to carrying things that were never yours. Letting go can feel like neglect. But with practice, you will notice a shift. Your reactions soften. Your stress levels drop. You feel less mentally crowded. This habit works best when practiced repeatedly throughout the day. Traffic delays, unfair comments, missed opportunities. Each moment is a chance to reinforce the boundary between control and release. Over time, your mind learns this distinction automatically. This is self-care because it teaches your brain where safety truly lies. Not in control, but in discernment. Another reason this habit is powerful is because it restores self-trust. When you focus only on what belongs to you, your actions become cleaner. You stop over-explaining. You stop people-pleasing. You stop chasing validation. You act according to your values, not other people's reactions. This creates inner alignment. You know what you are responsible for, and you fulfill it. You know what is not yours, and you let it go. That clarity reduces inner conflict. And less inner conflict means more peace. Stoics believed that freedom is internal. You may not control events, but you always control your response. When you accept this fully, life feels less chaotic. Problems still exist, but they no longer dominate your mental space. This habit also prevents burnout. Burnout often comes from trying to control outcomes instead of focusing on effort. When you shift your focus to effort alone, you work with less emotional strain. You do your best, then rest without guilt. This is not passive living. It is precise living. You aim your energy where it counts and conserve it everywhere else. This habit alone can reduce stress more than any routine. It does not require time, tools, or special conditions. It requires a decision to stop carrying what does not belong to you. Start small. Notice one situation today where you are mentally over-invested. Ask the question, act or release. Repeat. Over time, this practice reshapes your inner life. You feel lighter, not because life is easier, but because you stopped making it heavier than it needs to be. Self-care begins when you stop demanding control and start practicing clarity. 2. The habit of keeping small promises to yourself. Stop promising yourself a new life. Start proving to yourself that you can keep your word. This one habit is where real self-care begins. Many people struggle with self-care not because they are lazy, but because they no longer trust themselves. They make big plans, feel hopeful for a moment, then quietly break those plans. Over time, something deeper breaks. Confidence fades. Motivation disappears. Self-talk turns harsh. This is not a willpower problem. It is a trust problem. When you repeatedly say you will do something and do not, your mind learns to stop believing you. Stoic self-care starts by repairing that damage. Not with big goals, not with dramatic change, but with small promises that you can realistically keep, even on your worst days. Stoics understood that character is built through action, not intention. They believed that self-respect comes from alignment between words and behavior. When you say you will do something simple and you follow through, your mind registers safety. It learns that you are dependable. That belief changes how you feel about yourself. You stop needing motivation because trust replaces it. This is why small promises matter more than big ones. A short walk kept is more powerful than a perfect routine abandoned. One honest action does more for self-care than 100 plans. Keeping small promises is not about discipline as punishment. It is not about forcing yourself or proving toughness. It is about treating yourself like someone you care about. When you respect someone, you do not lie to them. You do not make promises you cannot keep. You choose words carefully and act accordingly. The same applies here. Promise less. Deliver more. If you say you will walk for 5 minutes, do it. If you say you will stop scrolling at a certain time, stop. These moments may feel insignificant, but they stack quietly. Each one tells your nervous system, I can rely on myself. Many people fail at self-care because they start too big. They promise daily routines, strict schedules, or total transformation. When life interferes, they collapse and feel ashamed. Stoic self-care avoids this trap. It works with reality, not against it. You choose promises that fit the life you actually live, not the life you wish you had. Bad day promises still count. Low energy promises still matter. Consistency beats intensity every time. This approach removes guilt and builds momentum naturally. As this habit grows, something subtle but powerful changes. You stop negotiating with yourself all day. You stop arguing internally about what you should do. Decisions become quieter. When you say you will act, you act. That simplicity reduces mental fatigue. This is self-care at a deep level. You are no longer fighting yourself. You are cooperating with yourself. Over time, this habit reshapes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who always starts and never finishes. You become someone steady, someone reliable, someone who shows up gently but consistently. That identity affects everything else. Relationships improve because you trust your boundaries. Work improves because you follow through. Emotional health improves because you stop living with constant self-disappointment. The Stoics believed that peace comes from living in agreement with your values. Keeping small promises is how that agreement begins. You align your actions with your words. You create internal order. You build quiet confidence that does not depend on praise or results. Self-care begins when you become someone you can rely on. Not someday. Not after you fix everything. Today, with one small promise kept. 3. The habit of preparing your mind before the day starts. Most people lose the day before it even begins. They wake up already reacting. And by midday, they wonder why they feel exhausted. The moment you open your eyes, the world starts pulling at you. Messages, responsibilities, noise, expectations. Your mind jumps ahead to problems that have not happened yet. This constant reaction creates stress long before any real difficulty appears. Stoic self-care begins by interrupting this pattern. The Stoics believed the mind should be prepared before the world is allowed in, not to control life, but to meet it calmly. Stoics practiced mental preparation because they understood something simple: difficulty is normal. Delays will happen. People will disappoint you. Plans will change. None of this is personal, and none of it means your day is ruined. When you remind yourself of this early, challenges lose their power to shock you. You stop asking, "Why is this happening?" and start asking, "How will I respond?" That shift is the foundation of emotional stability. Preparing your mind does not require long routines or spiritual language. It requires honesty. Before the day begins, take a quiet moment and remind yourself that not everything will go smoothly. Something may test your patience. Someone may be unfair. Energy may be low. Decide in advance how you want to show up anyway. Calm, patient, focused, reasonable. This decision creates a mental anchor you can return to when things go wrong. This habit reduces emotional spikes. When stress appears, your mind says, "I expected this. I am not surprised. I can handle it." That inner response is self-care. You are protecting your nervous system from constant shock. You stop treating every inconvenience as an emergency. Over time, this habit builds confidence. Not loud confidence, but quiet assurance. You trust yourself to face the day without collapsing emotionally. You stop depending on perfect conditions to feel okay. Even difficult days become manageable because you prepared for them mentally. Many people skip this habit because it feels too simple. But simplicity is the point. A calm beginning creates a steady rhythm for the entire day. You do not need motivation. You need readiness. 4. The habit of staying with discomfort instead of escaping it. Most people run the moment they feel uncomfortable. They scroll, snack, distract, or numb. Then they wonder why they feel weak and restless. Discomfort itself is not the problem. Avoidance. As Stoics understood that escaping every uncomfortable feeling trains the mind to believe discomfort is dangerous. Over time, this creates anxiety, low resilience, and emotional dependence on distractions. Stoic self-care does the opposite. It teaches you to stay present when things feel uneasy. Discomfort comes in many forms: boredom, sadness, awkward silence, fatigue, frustration. These feelings are part of being human. They rise and fall naturally when you allow them to. When you immediately escape, you interrupt that process. The feeling lingers beneath the surface and grows stronger. Staying with discomfort does not mean suffering unnecessarily. It means not panicking when discomfort appears. When you sit with it, even briefly, your mind learns something critical: this feeling will pass. I do not need to run. I am safe. That lesson builds emotional strength faster than any positive thinking. Stoics believed strength came from familiarity with difficulty. Not extreme hardship, but small, daily exposure. Finishing a task when you feel tired. Sitting in silence without reaching for your phone. Letting an emotion exist without judging it. These moments train the mind to remain steady under pressure. This habit creates quiet confidence. You stop fearing your own emotions. You stop labeling yourself as fragile. You begin to see yourself as capable of handling discomfort without breaking. That self-image changes how you approach challenges. You do not avoid them. You face them calmly. Practice this habit in simple ways. Delay your usual escape by a few minutes. Sit with silence. Let discomfort move through you. Observe it instead of fighting it. No drama. No self-attack. Just presence. This is self-care because you are no longer abandoning yourself the moment things feel hard. You are staying, and that builds trust. Strength grows not from comfort, but from your ability to remain grounded when comfort is gone. If you want, I can continue expanding the remaining habits in the same tone and depth, or adapt this into a YouTube voiceover script with retention pacing. 5. The habit of correcting yourself without cruelty. The voice in your head matters more than any advice you hear. And for many people, that voice has become abusive. This habit is about changing that without lying to yourself. Many people believe harsh self-talk is honesty. They think if they are not hard on themselves, they will become lazy or careless. Stoics rejected this idea. They believed clarity requires fairness. When you insult yourself, exaggerate your failures, or turn mistakes into character judgments, you are not being honest. You are being distorted. That distortion drains energy and blocks learning. Stoic self-care teaches you to correct yourself calmly. When you fail, name the failure clearly. Do not soften it, but do not dramatize it either. Say what happened, why it happened, and what to adjust next time. Then move on. No labels, no attacks, no stories about who you were as a person. Just information. Cruel inner talk feels powerful in the moment, but it destroys trust over time. Your mind begins to associate effort with punishment. Eventually, you avoid trying altogether. Calm correction does the opposite. It keeps the door open. You feel safe enough to try again. This habit matters most under pressure. When things go wrong, your inner voice should act like a steady guide, not a judge. A guide gives direction. A judge gives sentences. One helps you move forward. The other keeps you stuck. Pay attention to your tone when you make mistakes. Would you speak that way to someone you respect? If not, change it. This is not about being gentle. It is about being effective. Your nervous system responds to fairness. When you correct without cruelty, you stay regulated. And a regulated mind learns faster. Self-care here is not about comfort. It is about creating an inner environment where growth is possible. If you made it this far, you owe yourself one thing: action. Pick one habit and practice it today. Subscribe for more grounded self-care that actually works. Like, share and stay till the end of every video. 6. The habit of simplifying what you expect from yourself. You are not failing at life. You are drowning in expectations. Most of them were never realistic. Many people feel overwhelmed because they expect too much from themselves at once. Too many goals, too many standards, too many comparisons. Social media, culture, and pressure tell you to improve everything at the same time. The result is constant self-judgment and chronic stress. Stoics believed this kind of life was unnecessary. They chose simplicity because simplicity creates clarity. Stoic self-care begins by asking a grounded question: what do I actually need today to function well? Not perfectly, well enough. This shifts your focus from ideal performance to basic stability. When stability is present, progress becomes possible. Most days, your real needs are simple. Enough food, enough rest, a bit of focus, clear boundaries. When these are missing, everything feels harder than it should. When they are present, the mind settles. This is not lowering your standards. It is placing them where they belong. Simplifying expectations removes constant self-evaluation. You stop measuring your worth by productivity, output, or appearance. You stop comparing your pace to someone else's life. That mental quiet is self-care. This habit also reduces decision fatigue. When expectations are simple, choices become easier. You conserve energy. You stop negotiating with yourself all day. That saved energy goes into living instead of judging. Stoics believed enough was enough. Not because ambition is bad, but because excess creates suffering. When you simplify what you expect from yourself, you stop living in constant deficit. If this is helping you, stay with it. The final habits bring everything together. 7. The habit of ending the day with calm reflection. Your day does not end when you sleep. It ends when your mind lets it go. This habit teaches your mind how to do that. Most people carry their day into the night. Unfinished conversations, small regrets, worries about tomorrow. Their body rests, but their mind keeps working. Stoics understood that without closure, the mind stays restless. So they ended each day with reflection. Not to judge themselves, not to feel guilty, but to learn and release. This was not a ritual for perfect people. It was a tool for ordinary days. Calm reflection means looking at your day without drama. No exaggeration, no self-attacks, no excuses, just facts. What happened? What you handled well? What you could handle better next time? What no longer needs your attention? This simple review clears mental clutter. It tells your nervous system that the day is complete. When you skip reflection, your mind tries to process everything while you sleep. That is why many people wake up tired. Reflection gives your mind permission to rest. Stoics believed experience only becomes wisdom when it is examined. Without reflection, days blur together. Mistakes repeat. Growth stalls. Calm reflection turns daily life into learning without emotional cost. The key is tone. The moment reflection becomes harsh, it stops working. Harsh review triggers defensiveness. Calm review creates insight. This is why Stoics focused on fairness. You are not on trial. You are observing. Ask simple questions. What went well today? What drained me? What did I react to instead of respond to? What can I release tonight? These questions guide awareness without judgment. This habit also strengthens emotional boundaries. You stop replaying events endlessly because you have already acknowledged them. You stop carrying conversations into tomorrow because you have already processed them. That mental closure is self-care. Reflection is not about fixing everything at once. It is about noticing patterns. Small adjustments over time create stability. Many people avoid reflection because they fear facing their failures. Stoic reflection removes that fear by changing the goal. The goal is not to feel good. The goal is to understand. When you reflect calmly, failure loses its sting. It becomes information. Information does not attack your identity. It informs your next move. This habit also builds self-trust. When you regularly review your actions honestly, you become more aligned. You catch small issues before they grow. You feel more in control, not because life is perfect, but because you are paying attention. Reflection also helps you let go of what does not belong to you. You notice where you took responsibility for other people's moods or outcomes. You release them before sleep. This protects your energy. Stoics believed peace comes from living in agreement with yourself. Reflection keeps that agreement intact. Practical reflection does not need notebooks, long sessions, or deep analysis. It needs consistency and honesty. At the end of the day, pause. Review the day as if you were observing someone else. Neutral, curious, fair. Name one thing you handled well. Acknowledge it without downplaying. Name one thing to improve. Adjust without insult. Name one thing to release. Let it go consciously. This takes minutes, but its impact lasts all night. Over time, this habit creates emotional cleanliness. You stop carrying yesterday into today. You start each morning lighter. This habit turns experience into wisdom. And wisdom creates calm, not the calm of avoidance. The calm of understanding. End your day clearly, so tomorrow does not begin heavy. Practical takeaway. Self-care is not about feeling good. It is about becoming steady. Steady when life is noisy. Steady when people disappoint you. Steady when motivation disappears. Stoic self-care gives you that steadiness. Not by adding more habits, but by changing how you relate to yourself. You protect your energy instead of wasting it on what you cannot control. You keep small promises so you can trust yourself again. You prepare your mind before the day begins instead of reacting to everything. You face discomfort instead of escaping it. You correct yourself without cruelty. You simplify your expectations. You end your day with calm reflection instead of mental chaos. This is not something you do all at once. Trying to do everything is how people quit. Choose one habit, the one that speaks to your current struggle. Practice it quietly. No announcements, no pressure, just repetition. Consistency does the work that motivation cannot. Real self-care looks boring from the outside, but inside, it creates peace, clarity, and strength. Over time, you become someone who does not collapse under pressure. Someone who responds instead of reacts. Someone who stays with themselves even when things are hard. If this helped you see self-care differently, support the work. Like this. Share it with someone who needs steadiness, not hype. Subscribe for more clear, practical guidance that actually works. And remember, you do not need to fix your whole life. You just need to stop abandoning yourself.